이 위대한 구원. 크로스포인트 주니어 처치에서 전해드리는 이 시간, 담당의 Darin Pantley 형제입니다.
Hi, this is Darin Pantley from Crosspoint Bible Church. In 1957, a British naval historian named Mr. Parkinson shared a short story. There were several people who were part of a committee. It was their job to approve plans to build a nuclear power plant. They were the experts who were supposed to review the complex engineering designs. One of them picked up a blueprint. Hey, look, they're planning to add a bike shed over here. It was a tiny structure near the main building. There was nothing complicated about it. It was just there to give the employees a place to store their bicycles if they wanted to ride to work. The committee talked about what materials they should use to build the bike shed, what color to paint the walls, and what kind of roof to put on top. Each committee member contributed his or her own ideas. They put so much effort into discussing this trivial part of the design that they neglected the most important part, the nuclear power plant. Today, we call this bike shedding. If you are bike shedding, it means you're wasting time on trivial matters. This term is especially popular with software engineers. I would know. Another term that's commonly used by software engineers is yak shaving. This one was invented in the 90s. Yaks are really hairy animals that live in the Himalayas and parts of Siberia. Have you ever shaved a yak? Imagine you're preparing to cook a meal when you discover you're missing a crucial ingredient. So you go to your car to drive to the store, but before you leave, you notice one of your tires is flat. You'll need to put some air in it first before you can go anywhere. Thankfully, you remember your neighbor owns an air pump, so you walk over to see if you can borrow it. He is outside and he looks busy, but you interrupt him and explain the situation. He says, "Sure, no problem. However, I just got this new yak and I'm in the middle of shaving it. If you can finish shaving the yak, then I'll go and grab the air pump from my garage." And that's how you ended up shaving a yak when all you wanted to do was cook a nice meal. Maybe you've experienced it yourself. You just want to get one thing done, but that leads to another, which leads to another, and pretty soon you've forgotten what you were even doing in the first place. In addition to bike shedding and yak shaving, there's one other idea that's common among software engineers, and that's the XY problem. Have you ever had a problem with your phone? Suppose you tap the screen and nothing happens. How would you fix it? Let's call this problem X. You might say, if I can get inside of the phone, maybe I will see what's wrong. Let's call this solution Y. So you say to a friend, I need to open up my phone. What kind of tools should I use? They're really confused and try to help. Eventually they figure out that you're not really trying to solve Y. Y doesn't even matter. You don't need to open up the phone. You are actually trying to solve X. The screen isn't turning on. So they suggest plugging it in. Problem solved. When we read about salvation in the Bible, it's easy to turn it into an XY problem. We can see the problem. We are separated from God by our sin. But then we come up with our own solutions. We start bike shedding. We focus on ourselves, acting like our own good works will save us. We forget the original problem and stop focusing on God. Remember those big hairy yaks? Sometimes there's an order to the way that things have to happen. One thing leads to the next. For our salvation, God saves us first. Then, after that, we live to do good works. We can't brag about accomplishing any of this. It's all provided for us by God, even the good works for us to do, because He treats us better than we deserve. Ephesians 2, verses 8 through 10 explain this nicely. For it is by grace you have been saved, through faith, and this is not from yourselves. It is the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do.
지금까지 크로스포인트 주니어 처치에서 전해드렸습니다. 언어와 문화의 장벽을 없애고 실시간 동시 통역이 제공되는 크로스포인트 주니어 처치의 주일 예배 시간은 오전 11시이며 교회에 대한 안내는 847-212-6775로 문의해 주시길 바랍니다.